Hello, Lion listeners, and welcome to another episode of the Roar Report podcast. Here you can keep up to date on the latest and greatest going around the Dryden Central School District. Today, we have a special guest with us, DYOF board members Kathleen Murphy and Paul Streeter. In this episode, we are learning about the Dryden Youth Opportunity Fund. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So I know, and I have benefited a lot from the DYOF, but I know our listeners might not know what the DYOF is. So can you talk to us about what is DYOF?
Sure. So DYOF stands for Dryden Youth Opportunity Fund. It's a Dryden-based charity that we formed in 2003 for the sole purpose of enabling enriching activities and opportunities for youth in Dryden.
Awesome. And so what ages do the grants support?
The Dryden Youth Opportunity Fund likes to provide as much enrichment to a wide variety and the largest number of youth in the community that we can. So that supports from essentially birth with some different programs for the young ones all the way up through graduation age and moving on to adulthood.
And then what is the next grant cycle and how can people get involved or how can people apply for grants?
So our grant cycle is open now. You may see a couple of signs around town about that, and it will be open through the end of March. There is a grant application available through our website. We like to think that it's a pretty straightforward application. Tell us what you want to do, why you want the money, who it's going to benefit, and then what we will do is review those as a committee in April and decide who to grant money to and let them know and go from there.
And speaking from experience, having filled out the application a couple of times now, it is really, really easy. You guys make it super easy to apply for the funding. And like I said, having been an assistant principal, and now superintendent in the district, have applied and been involved in DYOF grants in the past. And so I've got experience from that end. But can you tell our listeners how many grants have you funded and how much has been awarded overall?
Sure, would love to. So really important, I didn't mention up front on what DYOF was, but it is a charity, as we said. We've raised through donations from community members, Dryden-based community members, $220,000 to date over the last 20 years.
That's amazing.
And we've used that money to support 316 awards so far, totaling over $214,000. 50% of that goes to the school district. We at Dryden Youth Opportunity Fund supports any charitable or school district effort, supporting students and youth in Dryden. So that includes the school district and organizations like Cooperative Extension or Southworth Library, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Fire Department. So the 316 awards have been spread far across the community. Anyone doing stuff to work with youth, recognized by the IRS as a charitable organization, we can provide money to. And so to date, as I said, 316 awards totaling over $214,000, with about half of that going to the school district so far.
And we are so grateful for that 50%. And knowing that when you look at that figure, knowing that $110,000 has come to the school district just to support our efforts is very, we're very, very grateful for all of that. And can you talk a little bit about what kind of opportunities DYOF has created for children or what those grants have benefited?
There's a wide variety of opportunities. As Paul was saying, there's several groups that we've done multiple grants to over the year, the school district, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Cornell Cooperative Extension, the library. We help to assist them with several activities that they do throughout the year, as well as several summer things. So those range from an event at the library in the summer with llamas coming in, and Llama Red Pajama.
She does so many great things.
Oh, she's amazing over there.
Yeah.
If we could give her more, we would.
Yeah.
So events at the library from littles, for the bigger kids at the library, and then through the school, various different opportunities here at the school with the programs through the business department and focus, as well as different field trips, and then different enrichment opportunities that have varied from different classrooms as well as support of throughout the years. Mostly we've looked at enrichment things, but as we hit the pandemic, we also had the opportunity to make the decision to use some of those funds to support our community in ways that were really needed during that time. that went outside our usual things, but we trusted those in our district,
Yeah.
Josh,
We bet,
and
yeah.
others to really support our youth in this area.
Yeah, we benefited from that shift in your focus during the pandemic. For our listeners, we applied for a DYO grant for headphones, which were really important during virtual learning, and you guys came through for us, and very much appreciated. And so, speaking of those kinds of things, and llamas at the library, are there any other stories that have really stood out to you with the kids and new learning opportunities from the work that you guys have funded?
Yeah, one that stands out for me, we have the chance every year to attend a program that we have funded for a number of years, which is the United Way Focus program. And
Okay.
Linda Bruto provides the leadership
Yes.
from the school district working with middle school and high school students. And it's called Focus, and it's an opportunity for the students to learn about our community, focus on our community, is what the intent is, and to learn about the needs in the community, and then to go through a similar process that we go through with DYOF of deciding what to support. And it's not about the money that they give away. It's really about them growing as individuals and learning how to work together as a team and listening to those students. They do a wonderful job of having those students speak to their parents and supporters about their experiences. And I moved every year by what they describe in their own self-growth of how they've become comfortable working in a group, what they've learned about our community. So that's a highlight for me. Again, as Kathleen said, we've been doing a number of these. Some of the programs when we've done, we used to have all the first graders go to Jerry Dell Farm as an Egg in the Classroom program. And we would hear from parents about that, and you'd hear from kids, as they got older about that. That was one through Cooperative Extension, and in recent years, it hasn't occurred, but it's an example. Music programs over the years, some workshops we've done there. So it's hard to pick out stories because there's just been a number of things.
Right.
But it has been really fulfilling to know that through the community support, again, this isn't my money, Kathleen,
Sure.
This is community support that have been given and trusted us to give it away for good things.
Right. I think one story that sticks out for me is back when I had first started at Dryden Elementary School as an assistant principal, we had a science day. You guys gave us some funding for that work, and we brought in some folks from Cornell, and we were in the gym at Dryden Elementary School, and they did a hovercraft with a leaf blower. It was electrifying in the gym. I've never heard the glee and the decibel be as high, even in a varsity basketball game up here. So it was really fun and neat to see.
We actually funded, and I don't know if you were assistant principal or principal at the time, but the first sustainability program that occurred down at Dryden Elementary School.
Oh, okay. Did you do the Go Green
program?
Okay.
And it's
wow, that's awesome.
It's growing. It's now expanded, well into the high school.
Yes.
And there's been some recognition that came back to the school, and the school donated that money back to DYOF. So really proud. And I forgot about that until you started talking about that experience.
And I didn't realize that was the origin story for that. But I talk a lot about how the sustainability club and the Go Green club at the elementary school, that's really become a part of the culture of the district. So it's really cool that you guys have been so, part of that origin story with that, for sure.
The stories we hear back are just what these donations to our fund enable organizations to do, whether it be the school district, Cooperative Extension, Southworth Library, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Town Rec, Fire Department, to be able to do things that they otherwise couldn't do. So it really is, what we've seen as our mission is to enable activities that otherwise wouldn't occur, that the school budget can't afford to do.
Sure.
Or these organizations can't afford to do. And through the generosity of our community, DYOF is able to activities to life. So that's really, I'd say, is the highlight whenever we get together. It's knowing that, this is a vehicle for folks to give and for it to make a difference in our community.
Right. And I wanted to touch on one specific opportunity that you funded throughout the years, the floating classroom on Cayuga Lake. And it's on your website that the grants have provided students the opportunity to go to field trips. Can you talk a little bit more about that experience?
Sure. And the floating classroom, we at one of our most recent meetings, we were all saying, we should ask for an invite to that sometime. We all are like, this looks really, really cool.
Right.
We should try this. Too. The field trip piece of it is a piece that's, when you ask about stories and the different skills or activities and opportunities, field trip piece for me really plays a big role. It's been a near and dear to my heart that field trips really enrich, our youth and really help to provide opportunities for many, many children in a way that wouldn't necessarily happen for a lot of kids. And the school district funds are not unlimited, and field trips can be difficult when we're having to make hard decisions with money. But this provide, the different field trips that we have helped to support, from the floating classroom, the Discovery Trail, Science Center, the local museums, Cuga Nature Center, Lime Hollow. Paul and I were talking about the Jerry Dell Farm trips there at Situ to the local dairy farm, and having as a parent participated in many of those before I was part of DYOF, and then recognizing, since I've been with DYOF, the role that they play in helping to support those, and seeing these kids get these opportunities to go to places that they wouldn't all get to go, and everybody gets on the bus and everybody goes, and being able to provide that, I think is really huge, and there's just no better experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, our resources are finite, and then Paul, as you mentioned, you rely on the generosity of the community, and we see that over and over and over again about how well our community supports us and stands with us, not just even behind us, but with us to move forward. And so we're so appreciative of that, because of our resources are not, unlimited. So can you talk to me a little bit about what kinds of guests have these grants funded to come to Dryden schools over the last several years?
You bet. When we can't take the kids somewhere, we can bring people to them. Absolutely. One of the ones that stands out that we've done for maybe 3 or 4 years now, different times, is a local taxidermist that comes over to the first grade classrooms, and we get so much good feedback on this. This year, they had posted several thank you to DYOF pictures. The kids just absolutely love it. They get to incorporate that into part of their curriculum at the time, too. But really, for the kids, it's just a fun day of bringing this stuff in, teaching them about animals, incorporating some Native American curriculum in there, too. Awesome. We have had puppeteers, we've had musicians, we've had guest authors that have come in through the different reading programs. And that's another big thing, I think, when you can really bring the group of kids together. We often try to support things that bring kids from all 3 of the elementary schools together, and be able to bring them into one space and experience something together like that. I think is really, again, the decibel probably goes a little higher, but I think it's a really cool experience for them to do that all as a big group, and particularly when we can bring them together like that.
Yeah, I agree. Can you tell our listeners where they can find and stay up to date with the Dryden Youth Opportunity Fund?
Sure. So we have a website, dyof.org. On that website, you can see all the grants that we've given out. You can see our application. As Josh, as you've mentioned, the application is a really simple
form. Super easy.
Our intention is to give away the money. We're not trying to make this hard. And we run 2 grant cycles. Those grant cycles are noted on the website. So that's probably the best way. We do have a Facebook page. I think that's our extent in social media, but we have a Facebook page.
Awesome.
And it just asks folks to look for signage around town. And again, the DYOF cannot support things in the community without the community supporting us. So we do a fundraising cycle. We accept money anytime, and you can give through the website. We do focus on it in the fall, and just in a simple letter campaign or email campaign. We don't want to compete with other fundraisers going on in the community. But so just ask folks to, think of us from a grant application standpoint and from a donation standpoint. And all that's available through our website at dyof.org.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're really lucky. I feel really privileged to be able to be on the committee and help to make these decisions. It's really hard when we can't fund every grant that comes in, but the privilege of having that, but the recognition really goes out to the many donors that help to support that and have for 20 years and $200,000+ and we hope to see that continue for more generations. Right. We're now a couple of generations into this, and we hope that to continue through many generations.
Yeah. No, but a big thank you to Kathleen Murphy and Paul Streeter for joining me today. You and your other board members have done a fantastic job distributing funds for students to have amazing opportunities and expand their horizons. Thank you for all that you do. And for our listeners, keep an eye out for more episodes to come, and feel free to send us any suggestions on who we should interview next. I'm your host, Superintendent Josh Pachaglupi, and this is The Roar Report. Over and out.